one of the biggest things that I'm focusing on this year, right, to help make 2026 as good as possibly can be. I'm not striving for perfection anymore. I want to emphasize being thankful for the bad, because those bad things turn into lessons, which then turn into good things, because then you learn from those lessons and you become a better person. I'm sorry, I have to say, any celebrity, influencer, whatever, that's partaking in this, like, look, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. That was very, I spoke directly into the camera there. That's why I laughed. But I actually do mean it. I actually do mean it. That is, that's ridiculous. Hello. Welcome back to Off the Record. I'm your host, Jordan Rance. Today's a big day. Today's a good day. Happy New Year to everybody out there. I was going to say to everybody out there that celebrates, but I mean, as far as I am aware, everybody celebrates the New Year because we all live in the same world. But you know what? I mean, there's also Chinese New Year. I'm sorry, I don't exactly know how all that works. Yeah, we'll just leave it as Happy New Year. Nice and simple, nice and easy. Look, I know that this is already the second episode of the year, but this is the first official episode that I'm recording this year in 2026. Speaking of which, is going to be one of the best years of my life. I just feel it. You know that feeling you get, but you can't explain why? That's what I'm saying. Look, I mean, I'm gonna talk about a whole bunch of shit today. Solo episode, of course. You know, I mean, that's one of the things we're gonna talk about. Not to mention the fact that this is already take 2 of recording this podcast, this episode, because, you know, technical difficulties, first round. But you know what? Let's hope for the best. You know what they say, second time's a charm. Yes, they say that. It's definitely not the third time. No. No, it's the second time. 2026, it's second time's a charm. Yeah. Yeah, look, okay. I keep doing this. It feels so official. It feels so like I'm about to cook. I'm about to drop some like motivational speech or something, even though I'm not. I'm just talking. I hope we're all doing well out there. Yeah, 2026 is going to be fucking amazing. It's going to be awesome. I just feel it. I have really no, you know, concrete way of like really proving that or whatever, but it's just, you know, going into this new year, I feel great. I mean, 26 is my favorite number, so my favorite 2-digit number, that is. Yeah, I'm weird with that. I love numbers. They all have a very sentimental meaning to me, which I will remain privately. The meaning will remain privately in my heart until either A, I'm ready to share it, or B, until never going to share it, because sentimental privacy is a thing. Speaking of, well, no, that was a weird way to transition. There's no speaking of sentimental privacy. I don't even know, is sentimental privacy even a fucking thing? It is now. Yeah. Look, okay, I gotta stop saying look. Okay, that's kind of like my new sort of, what do you call it? Like, you know how a lot of people say like a lot? Like me? Look is like kind of one of the new ones that I have adapted, whatever, into my vocabulary. Anyways, I'm going to be conscious of trying not to say it so much. As well as ums. I gotta just learn to just enjoy the silence. I don't know if I talked about that on the podcast, but I watched that video, a video, I should say, a while ago, where this guy was talking about how to do good, to do better with like public speaking, for example, right? You know, and we all, as people, we all have this sort of tendency to like, we gotta always be talking, right? and I'm sure I've talked about this because it's, I watched it a long time ago, and I'm sure it's something I would have brought up. But you know what? Let's just briefly touch on it just a little bit here. You just said, get used to anytime you feel the urge to say, which, I mean, obviously nothing's going to be perfect, right? I'm still going to say it, but I just don't want to rely on it every 3 words, right? So yeah, I'm just, anytime I feel like I'm going to say the word or like or any sort of one of those filler words, right? I will try my best to stop myself. Not every time, but if I notice I've been saying it a lot, I will sort of stray away from it, stay away from it. Big news, big news. You might have already noticed, right? You might be watching this episode and being like, something is different this week, but I just don't know what it is. That's what you're saying, of course. Well, to your question, to your wonderingment, if that's a word, I have the answer for you. I am officially recording all episodes from today going forward on an actual camera. Oh! Now, this is something that I've wanted to get for probably about 10 years. Yep. Not this specific camera necessarily, just because, I don't know. I mean, I think it's fairly new, to be honest. It's called the Sony ZV-E10. Fairly expensive, not gonna lie, but you know what? I had the opportunity to buy it, and I'm a firm believer on. I mean, I've said this many times before on here about YOLO, right? You only live once, right? And of course, if you're looking to buy something, not saying that life is all about buying shit. I'm not super materialistic, right? I like nice, expensive things, but sentimental value is also very important to me. I rest my case there. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in if you can afford something you want to get, even if it's expensive, right? Or if you know that you can do it, whether it's through financing or whatever the plan is, whatever works for you, if you think that you got it, do it. Okay? And that's what I did. I had the opportunity. I got my hands on the money to buy this camera. And I'm very, very happy that I did, because the quality speaks for itself, honestly. I was fortunate enough by my wonderful parents to have gotten the camera, and also for Christmas I got a friggin' ring light, a new ring light, which obviously you can't see, but you could kind of tell, because, just that's how, this part of my face is well lit, and I think it really accompanies well with both the camera and the ring light. So I'm very happy. Starting the year off really great, and I just think that the quality is going to get a lot better. Now, speaking of quality, okay, I want to take, and this might take me a little bit to get to the point. Bear with me here, but I thought this was going to be a good opportunity to transition into this topic. I want to talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions. We all have them. Do we all stick to them? No, we don't. Sometimes we do. I think it really depends on how, feasible the goal is. I don't know if I use that word right. As you know, I question myself a lot. But, yeah, I think it really depends on if it's a realistic goal. That is the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that I'm focusing on this year. Right, to help make 2026 as good as possibly can be. I'm not striving for perfection anymore. Okay, which means that, not that I don't care about quality. Okay, there's that very fine line there, right? And obviously I'm talking in regards to the podcast, right? I don't want, I'm not saying that, it's going to get sloppy, or it's going to be less thought out answers or questions or whatever, right? No, none of that. In fact, the quality is going to go up now that I have this camera, right? And the lights and everything. But, I think sometimes that I think a little too much on quality, and I question myself. I was like, should I even post this, or right? The amount of times I've like gone to post on like Instagram or TikTok or whatever, but then I'm like, I start overthinking it, and I'm like, this doesn't really look like the best quality I could do. So then I don't end up posting it, right? But and obviously there's some times where you're gonna not post it, right? Just because if it's absolute garbage quality, right? I actually don't want to. But I think if I have the equipment to help me with that quality as it is, right? Amazing camera, good lighting, microphone, amazing quality, right? I'm very proud of my microphone quality and the now the camera, right? Yeah. I don't really have to worry too much about quality. I'm more talking about like consistency is key. Consistency is the focus. Consistency is my New Year's resolution. And I mean that in more ways than one, right? Right now I'm talking about being consistent on the podcast. I'm going to try my absolute best to not miss a single week this year. Not unless I like specifically plan for it. But right now there's no plan to be missing any weeks. Okay? I'm going to try my best. Now, of course, not striving for perfection. There will probably be some times where I miss a week, and that's, there's nothing I can do about that because I'm human, and sometimes shit happens. Right? But, yeah, I mean, I think also at the same time, sort of adding on to that, about, consistency a little bit more than quality, like spending so much time on the quality, right? Sort of evening out a little bit. I think also I need to stop pressuring myself on this podcast to have the episodes be like an hour-ish, right? Obviously, I love having the long episodes, and when I have a guest on, it's even easier because then it's like, we get into a good rhythm, a good conversation, good flow of words, you know what I mean? It's natural, right? You're not forcing any specific amount of time, right? When I'm on a solo episode, I kind of have this sort of thing where it's like I keep looking at the time, like the recording time, and I'm like, I just keep mental notes, and I'm like, well, I gotta keep going, gotta try and figure out what to say, what to talk about. But you know what? Like, would it really be that bad if occasionally I did like a 30-minute episode even? Like, I don't think that would be terrible, right? That's still a decent amount of time. Not saying that that's what the focus is going to be, but holy fuck. You can see the sun like crazy. I gotta get a blind. You can't see it in the frame, but you might be able to see the shine going on up there if you're watching this on video, which if you're not, you're missing out because, we got that amazing camera quality. But yeah, well, I'm recording this at like 12:30. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock, 12:34. Wow, I'm going to take that as a good opportunity to talk a lot about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. How numbers and how everything can really show a cool meaning, right? I don't know how this happens or what, but I'm very grateful for it. I am one of those people that like I see repeating numbers all the time. Like I see 11:11 on the clock all the time. 12:34 I see occasionally, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, this is one of those times. I mean, I always love seeing 111, 222, 333, 444 is a big one, right? Because they all have their own meaning, right? So it's cool. And especially when you just see it, right? When you don't try and look at it. Like sometimes I'll see, like for example, if I looked at the clock at 12:33 and like looked back nonstop just to see 12:34, yeah, it would still be cool, but then it's like I was aware of it. Then it's like I did that purposefully, right? Damn, the sun is really pissing me off now. You're ruining the vibe, son. Damn. Great lighting, great camera. Bad sun. Ugh. Bear with me here. Hopefully it dies down a little bit, just because the vibes, we gotta keep them high, gotta keep them good. Yes. I'm very happy that I got this camera. Very happy that I'm just where I'm at in life. I don't know if I mentioned this on this take. Like I said, like this is my second take recording this episode, just because technical difficulties first time around. But um, what I was going to say, whether I said it in this take or not, 26 is my favorite number for my own reasons. But yeah, so I mean, maybe that's a big reason. Maybe that's part of the reason, I guess, that I feel that 2026 is going to be a great one. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Look, I want to talk about more New Year's resolutions. I'm thinking consistency for the podcast, consistency in the gym as well. Now, this is something I've been doing for the past few weeks, right? I've been holding myself to a 4 workout per week minimum. Because I thought about this like mid-December, okay? Because, I mean, naturally in December, right, I start thinking about New Year's resolutions. What do I want to do in this next year to improve in certain aspects of my life, right? Obviously, becoming more consistent in the gym was a big one because, there were big stretches last year where I didn't go to the gym. But yeah, now this year I'm doing it 4 to 5 workouts every week. And look, I was going to start it January 1st or whatever, right? First full week, so January 5th. But then I was thinking, because again, I was thinking about this mid-December. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, why wait? And why not just do this now? So that's what I did, right? And I've been doing that pretty strong for the last few weeks. I think this week I've already got, let's see, I worked out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today's Thursday. I'm going to go to the gym later after recording this episode. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm recording this podcast literally a day before, the episode is released, like specifically, like I said, it's like 12:30 in the afternoon. So less than 24 hours from now, this episode will be out in the world. Not my favorite way to do things. If you recall from one of the last episodes I did a few weeks ago, before I took the break and everything, said one of my New Year's resolutions, or I think I talked about this on here, I don't know. One of my New Year's resolutions was to get ahead with recording episodes, right? I wanted to go back to where I was when I started the podcast, where, I had the first 3 episodes done, recorded, edited, uploaded, scheduled before I even announced that I was doing the podcast. I want to get back into that. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that on like my time off, right? From releasing episodes. Just because, at first I thought it was gonna be good, but then I'm like, well, this was probably one of the worst times to be doing that because it's the holiday season. Of course, everybody's gonna be with their families. They're gonna be going on trips, right? Totally understandable. But I mean, it's never too late. I can still do that. The sun is really pissing me off. Like, I look white as fuck. Look at me. Hello? Where'd my skin go? I am vanishing into the abyss. Ooh, wow. Like, that's actually insane. It looks like a piece of my face is erased. Photoshop glitch. Glitch in the Matrix. No, I won't go there. I won't go there. I will not go there. Not today, at least. Yes. I saw this clip not too long ago. It was, I think, I know it was Eddie Murphy. It might have been from one of his movies. Look, I'm not the best with watching movies, right? I am trying to watch more movies, right? I have this app called Letterboxd, which I'm sure a lot of people know of. I believe it's fairly popular. And then, you see all the movie reviews and, if to my understanding, you can get like movie recommendations on like what to watch next, and then you can leave a review on said movie, right? And it just requires me actually prioritizing that and making the effort to watch those movies. I just have this really bad habit of not giving certain movies the chance it deserves, right? Like I will start a movie and I'll be fairly into it, right? I'll be like, well, this isn't actually that bad. I'm enjoying it, right? Harry Potter, for example. Okay, I'm sorry to all my Harry Potter friends out there. Look, I tried. I tried. Didn't really give it the best shot, though, I will fully admit. So maybe I'll go back to it one day. But, for the longest time, I slept on it, right? For years, through all my entire teenage years, without ever seeing Harry Potter or reading any of the books, I had this opinion where I was like, absolutely not. Harry Potter is garbage. Bad. Never watching it, never reading the books. I had that opinion based on absolutely nothing. Of course, throughout acting school, met a few friends that are really big fans of the series, right? The books and the movies, right? So naturally, they're always making references, right? I was in acting school at the time, so I was like, you know what, this is one of the biggest movie franchises ever, so I should probably make an effort to try and watch it. And I did, just like I said, not the best effort. I watched about, I want to say, roughly about half, a little more than half of the first movie. And like I said, it wasn't terrible, okay? It wasn't the worst movie I've seen. But it didn't give me enough to want to see more. And this was like probably already a year ago that I watched this. Like, it's been a long time. I don't know. I'm going to try my best, right? Again, I guess you can consider that to be another one of my New Year's resolutions. You know what would be kind of cool? Making some 2026 New Year's resolutions, right? Making them clear, saying them like what they are here on the podcast, and then on one of my first episodes in 2027, next year, looking back and being like, first off, what's different, right? What has changed with the podcast, right? And did I actually follow up with those goals? With those resolutions? Did I actually go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week 95% of the time? Because yes, of course, we're not striving for perfection anymore. We're striving for consistency. Which kind of contradicts what I just said. But I'm just saying, right? Yes, the goal 4 to 5 times a week. Yes, the goal to get ahead in podcast episode recordings. But if the odd week, right, I don't do that, oh well. Like I was saying, though, after that whole thing, I saw this clip. Eddie Murphy, I believe was one of his movies. It just looked like it was a movie. And he was talking directly to the camera. He broke the fourth wall. For my actor peoples, you'll know what that means. And, well, maybe everybody might know what that means. I don't know how universally known that term is. But, particularly for actors, right? We'll know what that is. He was talking directly to the camera. That's what that means. Breaking the fourth wall. He had mentioned how the average lifespan is roughly about 75 years. Okay, 75 to 80 years, let's say. Okay, he used the number 75, right? And he put it in this way. It's really not that long. If you think about it, that means you got 75 summers, 75 winters, 75 springs, and 75 autumns. Yikes. That is like... That really rewires the brain there for a second. Just to think that, like, holy fuck. Like, I'm turning 24 this year. But that means that, like, this right here, it's wintertime right now. This is the 23rd winter that I've experienced in my lifetime. And, like, yeah, that is a lot. But at the same time, not so much, right? Especially when we're talking about the average lifespan of being about 75, right? I mean, like, I want to live a healthy life, and I think I live a fairly healthy life. So I definitely strive to be living past 75, but we're going based on like an average number here, an average lifespan. Uh, so like we're at 23 right now. So even if like the goal is 100 ultimately, I'm gonna live to at least 100, right? I think that's doable. 23 out of 100. When you put it that way, right? That really sort of amplifies the you only live once aspect of things. So, using that to sort of, I don't know, be more appreciative and be more grateful, right? I mean, I'd like to think that my gratitude is very much up there. I like to say thank you to a lot of things. I definitely have talked about that here on the podcast before. Just being thankful for everything, being thankful for the good and the bad. Very much want to emphasize being thankful for the bad because those bad things turn into lessons. Okay. Which then turn into good things because then you learn from those lessons and you become a better person. Everything happens for a reason. You can't tell me otherwise. You can believe whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell you what to believe. But if you're asking me what my beliefs are, which I know you probably didn't, but I'm going to say them anyways. I don't believe in coincidences. No coinkydinks here. Okay? Everything happens for a reason. You might not know what that reason is right away, but over time, you'll start connecting the dots and you'll realize that, you know what? Yes, I see it now. Okay? It'll hurt, right? At times, right? You'll get heartbroken. You'll get, I don't know, offended. Whatever the reason is, right? At the moment, you'll be like, holy fuck. This sucks. This is awful. This is terrible. This is disgustingly bad. But then after some time of thinking and processing, I don't know why, but I was going to say evolving. Kind of works, kind of doesn't. You realize that, it was all for a reason. It was all for a reason. I would love to talk about Stranger Things next. Switching gears. A hard turn. Left or right. Either direction is fine. Stranger Things is officially over. And I'll start by saying that if you out there, if you're watching it, the podcast, once this episode is done, so this is for people that haven't seen Stranger Things. Once this episode is done, and specifically after this episode is done, because don't you dare leave without finishing the episode. No, I'm just kidding. That's not a threat. It's not a threat. Out of the episode, go watch Stranger Things, binge it, or you're banned. From what, you may ask? What are you banned from? Well, that's up for interpretation, my friend. That's weird. It's weird. Yeah, go watch it. It's a fantastic show. And as someone that's watched it pretty much since it came out, like, actually, fun fact, like, when it was fairly new, I actually slept on it, meaning I didn't watch it for probably about the first year or two of it being out, right? So it was probably closer to, like, maybe, like, season 2, season 3-ish. When I started watching it, of course, I watched it from season 1. But then, yeah, I binged it. Season 3, the best. Season 5, really fucking cool. Season 4, great. Season 2, awesome. Season 1, this is what I tell everybody that's about to watch it. Get through season 1. It's not the best in my personal opinion. It's a little hard to get into. Because think about it, they're explaining the whole story. And especially if you don't know Dungeons and Dragons, the game. Which, for the record, I don't know the first fucking thing about Dungeons and Dragons. But especially if you don't know what that is and you're starting to watch this show, that's heavily based on the game, just give it a chance. Give it a shot. It really it ends up turning out to be very good. But yeah, like I was saying, as someone that's watched the show for almost the entire time of the show being around, the fact that it's done doesn't feel real. It's a really weird feeling, right? And for anybody that's seen any show ever that they like, and it comes to an end, that initial time after you've seen the last episode, you're like, what do I do now? What do I watch? What do I talk about, right? Obviously you'll figure it out, right? But yeah, man, it's an amazing show. I personally liked the ending. For fair warning, whatever the word is, forewarning, fair warning. I think it's fair warning. I'm gonna say some spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, just no. What's the lesser of two evils here? Skip past this part, or go what? No, but then you can pause. Here's my deal to you, viewer. Pause the episode, my episode right here, right now. Pause it. Binge the entire fucking series. That will take months, or at least a month, and then come back to this episode, because that's obviously the most realistic option here. Right? Yeah. It's the most realistic, okay? It's fine. It's fine, it's good. I'm just feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like a professional friggin' podcaster with this camera and the microphone. Like I said, the only thing that's ruining the vibes right now is I keep looking and seeing the sun is way up in my face, erasing my shit, being stupid and dumb. With that being said, though, one of the things that I very much live by, if I can't control it, I don't worry about it. I can't control the sun, even though I wish sometimes. I can't control it, so I just deal with it, right? Yeah, sure, I could put a blind or I could put a curtain on the window, and I will. I know that's what you're saying. Sorry, I'm being so accusatory. Is that a word? I don't know. I'm being so, like, pointy fingers, and everybody is doing great. Let me leave it at that. Yeah. No, okay, Stranger Things spoilers coming up. If you haven't seen it, go watch it if you have seen it. I mean, even if you haven't seen it, the things I'm going to say aren't going to make a ton of sense, and yeah. Anyways, I said enough about the fact that I'm going to say spoilers. So without further ado, because there has been a lot of ado, I'm going to say it now. The way they ended it, where Elle supposedly died, which I don't know if she did or not. I think what they've done is they've literally left it up to the interpretation of people. Right? Sadie Sink was just on the late night show, the Jimmy Fallon show, Tonight Show. Sorry, I get the names mixed up sometimes. Bad Jordan. She was just on there, and Jimmy Fallon had asked, do we think that Elle is alive or dead? And Sadie Sink said that she dead. She did. But also, I've heard many theories that point to the fact that she's alive. Right? I mean, not to mention, in the show itself, that they said that, when Elle was standing in the Upside Down, when it was all being blown away or exploded, whatever, they said that was fake, right? Because the kryptonite, like those siren things that she always was, like, affected by, right? She wasn't. Okay, that's the first one. And the second one, her nose wasn't bleeding when she, was standing there, right? So I've heard I think they said this in the show, if I'm not mistaken. I've heard that they that Callie manipulated people's vision. That was a cool way to say it. Pretty much just made it look like Elle was there. Made it gave the people, all the peoples in the show, gave them the what's the word? The impression that Elle went away with the Upside Down, but in reality, she wasn't there. I don't think so. I think that Callie made it look like she was there when in reality Elle actually escaped. Right? Because that's why we saw Elle standing in that, or like walking in that middle of nowhere with the waterfalls. Granted, that's when, at the very end, when Mike was telling the story, right? So, I mean, it's that could just be me, or it could be just be him wishing that she's alive, right? So that's why, yeah, I think it's a very cool ending that they did, where it's just sort of, they didn't really say, like, concretely 1000% what happened. And I think it's very smart that they did that, because think, the show's over, but we're all still talking about it, right? Because we're all still being like, well, I think this and you think that, and, that's really good, right? Versus they could have just, like, did some very obvious ending where there would have been no questions, and then we would have been like, we would have talked about it for the, first couple days of it being over, but then we would have moved on, right? And yeah, don't get me wrong, like, eventually we'll all move on from the show, like we do any show, but yeah, I think they did very good. And especially, like, like the full circle moment where they, like, one of the last scenes was now the kids, so like Derek and Holly and their friends. I don't remember the others' names, to be honest. They were the ones playing D&D down in the basement, right? And they are so attention to detail, the Stranger Things peoples, right? The makers, the Duffer Brothers. Because they started with that close-up shot of the sprinkler in the yard, and then they did the establishing shot of the house, I believe, right? And then they cut to the original, the Mike, Will, Lucas, and Dustin playing the game, right? That was in the beginning. Then at the very end of the show, same thing, same sprinkler, same establishing shot of the house, but now it is the younger kids playing the game, and Mike is standing there watching them. That's just like, it's like, this is the story. No ending, right? It's an open ending right now. Mike's standing there watching them play the game. He walks up the stairs. He's an adult now, right? They're all adults, right? That right there, to me at least, was the closing. It was a really good way to end it. So I'm very happy. I said I'm very happy a lot. I'm just happy. But I'm happy with the ending, is what I meant to say. Is what I was going to say. I think it was a good ending. I don't really know of any other ways they could have ended it. At first, I was thinking, like, well, what happened to Henry? Okay? But then, I'm talking to a few people, and, we're all like, well, think about it. Again, this is my interpretation. I could be wrong. For Stranger Things peoples out there, let me know. But to my knowledge, Vecna is the only physical form of Henry. Meaning Henry, One, Mr. What's-It, those were all in his mind. Meaning Henry never existed. The only people that could ever see Henry were either Elle, Callie, Will, or any of the kids that were in the hive mind in season 5. Or anybody throughout the show that was captured by Vecna. Because remember, in this was episode 4 of season 5, when we first saw that Will has powers, right? And Vecna emerged from the Upside Down to the military base, started whooping ass. You know, that was the first time that Mike, Joyce, I believe those were the only people there. I believe. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be forgetting. Obviously, Will, of course, but, those are the first times that, for sure, Mike and Joyce had ever actually seen Vecna. That's crazy. That's crazy to think about because, like, all of that time, you don't realize that, And there's also, like, other interesting, like, tidbits about it where, like, I think it was, I want to say Steve and Mike never had a dialogue scene, meaning there was never just the two of them talking together. It could be different characters, but it's, two different combinations, or it could be them, whatever. Throughout the entire series, had never spoken directly to each other. Another really cool thing. Really cool thing. Also really cool about the show is that right from season 1, they had shown like the little foreshadowing moments, the little clues, the little Easter eggs that suggested the, different like future parts of the show. Right? There's this guy on TikTok. I don't know what his name is, right? But it's him and his friend watching season 5 of Stranger Things, and does this thing where he pauses it, he goes, hey, pause, and then he'll literally go to like the randomest episode in one of the earlier seasons, like season 2 episode like 6, right? And just explains the sort of relation, like the similarities, right? And he's like, well, this thing happened in season 5. Well, that thing happened because this thing in season 2 happened before. So now that we see the thing in season 5, crazy stuff how it all sort of ties together and you don't realize it at first. Also just addressing the theories that we all got wrong. I heard so many times that we'll see Eddie in season 5. Didn't happen. Like, at least not his physical form, right? There's like memories of him, right? Briefly. And we didn't see what's his name? Max's brother. I'm blanking. Max's brother. We didn't see him. Billy. There you go. When that was a big theory I saw. The biggest sort of like reasoning I heard for the Billy theory is his license plate. The numbers on his license plate were 2, 3, 5, and he was in season 2, I believe. Season 3 for sure, because that's when he died. And then people were saying that, well, the 5 must mean he's in season 5, right? And at the time, I was like, well, I wouldn't put it past anything because that would totally be Stranger Things-esque, right? By putting those little hard to miss clues, right? Speaking of the hard to see clues, I meant to say. Speaking of those hard to see clues, like in one of the episodes, season 5, when it cuts back or goes back in time to when Joyce was, when they were all in high school themselves, when Max was in Henry's mind in one of those old memories, right? And you see in the hallway Joyce handing out pamphlets for the play that they're doing, right? And it zooms in to like the close up, the insert shot of the pamphlet, and it shows the cast members. It was Joyce Byers, it was I believe Mike's dad, Mr. Wheeler. It was I want to say Hopper was there, I think, in the cast. I want to say, I don't know, but it was a whole bunch of them. But the biggest thing about that is that on the cast Henry Creel. Now again, as most of us know, that's Henry, that's Vecna, that's Mr. What's-It, so many different aliases, right? So I remember, seeing that and being like, oh my god, like, does that mean that like Joyce and Hopper are friends with Vecna? Are they like chill with the Vecnator? You know what I'm saying? And I don't remember if they've ever confirmed that or what, but yeah, I don't know. Really cool. Really friggin' cool to think about. I don't know where I was going with that. How was I going to continue? I should make a compilation just for funsies one time if I ever have time. The amount of times that I say the same shit episode to episode, right? The fact that I literally was just like talking about that, right? Making the compilation. I've probably talked about making the compilation before. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be talking nonstop like this. But you know what? I'm doing really good. We're at around 45 minutes, give or take, ish. And I give myself a little pat on the back. Good job, Jord. Good job, J Money. Ooh, that was cringe. I have to rant here for a second before I recorded the episode, this episode right here, right? I had a whole bunch of like topics that I wanted to sort of talk about, but I felt like I needed one more thing. So all I did, went onto Google and I searched pop culture news, right? What the hell is going on in the world? What's an interesting thing that I could talk about here on the podcast? And I found one that's interesting, but not in a good way. Interesting in like a, holy fuck, are we that stupid? Apparently, there are some peoples out there who are glamorizing smoking, glamorizing cigarettes. There's a page on Instagram where it shows a bunch of celebrities. I saw Justin Bieber as one of them, posting a fucking picture with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth. Like, have we traveled back in time to the 1950s? I am so strongly opinionated on this, and being completely fucking honest, I do not give a shit about what anyone thinks about this, because this is beyond my opinion. This has literally been studied for years that cigarettes kills. It kills people. It causes cancer. It causes more than one type of cancer, that is. Lung cancer, throat cancer, tongue cancer, fucking, you name it, right? And now, after all of that, let's start making it seem like a cool thing again. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Like, I'm absolutely appalled. And, I'm sorry, I have to say, any celebrity, influencer, whatever, that's partaking in this, like, look, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. That was very, I spoke directly into the camera there. That's why I laughed. But I actually do mean it. I actually do mean it. That is fucked. That's ridiculous. It's 2026. 2026, and we're talking about how smoking cigarettes is cool again? Yeah, okay. You go do that. Go smoke those cigarettes, and in fucking 25 years, when you're fucking talking like this because you smoked all the time, yeah, enjoy it. I'm sure it'll feel great. Holy fuck. I saw that, and I actually had to look at the date that the article was posted, and here's the fucking craziest part. The article was posted today. So it's recent. It's It's the thing. For the record, setting it straight right here, right now, you will never see me partaking in that. Yes, I'm an actor, so in, films and TVs, there'll be times where, my character smokes a cigarette, but those fake. In real life, nope. I can proudly say in my 23 years of existence, almost 24 years of existence, that I have never once smoked a cigarette. Hand on my heart, I promise that that is true. I have never once smoked a cigarette. And I'm so proud of that. Okay? Yeah, I've done shitty things, right? I talked last week with Eddie, right? That in high school, I vaped occasionally, right? Because that was like the new thing. That was the new age cigarettes, okay? Still kind of is. 111 on the clock. Sorry, I have to pause that. I was just talking about that. I saw 1234 earlier. Now I just see 111. I didn't look at 110 and then tried to see 111. I just saw 111. There you go. Hell yeah. Hell to the yes. Back to what I was saying. Yeah. Now, that's just ridiculous. That is just ridiculous, bro. Like, I'm appalled. And you can go think whatever the fuck you want. Right? If you're someone out there that smokes, right? Obviously, as opinionated as I am also a believer in, as long as you're not hurting anybody, do whatever the fuck you want. But also at the same time, I have the right to share my opinions as well. And I don't necessarily see it any differently, right? I mean, yeah, I'll be honest and I'll condemn smoking for sure. Smoking cigarettes is awful for you. It smells like shit. It makes your clothes smell. Makes your breath smell. It is not attractive by any means at all. And not to mention, it's terrible for you. Like, unbelievable. 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 That felt really nice to get out of my system. I feel like I very much needed that, because when I first read the article, I was like literally just appalled, to say the least. And I looked up the Instagram page that does this, where a bunch of celebrities are doing this, and I'm just like, look, man. Like, I mean, like, just for starters, like, the fact that, like, a lot of these celebrities are doing this, like, let's not forget here for a sec here that, like, there are kids that look up to you, and if you're out here being like, yep, smoking is cool, well, then then all these kids are gonna be like, well, this person, this really cool person that, like, I like their movies or whatever, right? He's smoking cigarettes, so that means that I'm gonna smoke cigarettes because they did. You see how damaging that can be, right? And it's the same thing for vaping, right? All terrible for you. And the fact that we are spending this time being like, yeah, it's cool again. No, it's not. No, it's not. At all. Sorry, I'm not actually that mad, but I'm flabbergasted. That's a really great way to put it. I am flabbergasted. I rest my case there. I'm done with it. I need to be more zen. I need to be more focused. Speaking of that, one of my also resolutions for the new year, meditating often. I'm not going to pressure myself to do it every day, but I want to, like, not forget about it. Not forget that that's an option. Because a lot throughout, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a fair amount of times last year, especially in 2024, there were plenty of times where I should have meditated more, because I think that would have helped me sort of composed my thoughts, should have worked out my thoughts a little better. Um, but yeah. So, anyways, um, gonna start doing that more, just because it's very good to just take that time for yourself, right? And I know I've talked briefly about meditation here. Of course, when we say meditation, it's not the cliche, typical, feet crossed, hands like this, om, om. Like, it's not that. It's not that. It's literally just, it could just be being silent. It could just breathing intentionally. It could be being present, right? Whatever it is, right? Whatever your process is, whatever works for you. Like, I think that meditation is something that's, it's, I don't know what if you would say interchangeable, right? Maybe not the right word, but it's I guess up for interpretation, kind of. Where, like I said, you do what works for you. Another sort of thing, right, in the same sort of realm of things is journaling. Okay, I've been on and off with journaling for a long time, many, 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 many years. Where I'll do it for a good few days and then I'll miss one, and so with me, I'm a very much a creature of habit. Um, and it's hard for me sometimes to develop good habits because obviously good habits require effort. And if you're not used to making that effort, well, then, it's, right. But yeah, I really want to try and do that more. Maybe even it could be during meditation, right? Like, that could be my form of meditation is journaling, right? And obviously, for those out there that are considering journaling, like, first off, I say do it because, like, it feels really actually therapeutic and very good to just write out what you're thinking, right? And there's been times where, shit, like, I've written page after page after page because the ideas are just flowing, right? And that pen is just moving on the paper. It's very therapeutic, right? I also want to, like, I low key, this isn't really something I've spent too much time thinking on, but I also low key want to, like, try and start coloring more. It sounds so, like, childish to say, but, like, my family, as far as I know, they like to color occasionally, and I kind of see it. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of see it. Just how that could be relaxing. Put some nice music on. Get a fucking coloring book and just color. Like, that could be cool, right? I don't know. So try it out. Try it out. I know that I started the episode off with talking about New Year's resolutions, talked about some other shit, and then now I'm kind of back to it. But it's a big time to be talking about resolutions, and you know what? I feel like what I'm talking about is flowing pretty well. Hopefully you all are out there enjoying this episode. Of course, another one of my big goals, personally in my life, is to start self-taping again, right? And for those who don't know, right, for those that aren't in the acting industry, of course, and a self-tape is pretty much just a virtual audition. That's how the vast majorities of auditions are nowadays, are self-tapes where you just record yourself rather than actually going to somewhere to audition, right? Especially for the smaller roles. But also, you could just, right, like, you could just put a camera in front of your face, right? Now that I got this wonderful, amazing camera, right, I could use that, right? I could use my phone still. Let's be honest, now that I got this camera, I'm going to be using a camera. But, yeah, like, I just wanted to, like, just, I'm not going to pressure myself to do X amount per month, because then I'm like putting that on me, right? And then that's setting myself up for disappointment if it doesn't work, right? Like, if I get busy or whatever the reason is, right? So I just generalize it by just saying that I just want to just do some again. 'Cause yeah, I mean, since, like, that I've temporarily moved out of Toronto, it's hard. I haven't really felt like much of an actor recently. Like, don't get me wrong. When I'm talking to people, I still say it proudly. I'm an actor because I am. Doesn't matter if I haven't been actually doing the acting stuff recently. But I am an actor. I very much am an actor, and I'm so proud to say that. But now it's time, right, especially for 2026 being one of the best years of my life, it is time to actually like take those steps, take those actionable steps to doing this, to like achieve my goals, right? I can't just go saying like, oh yeah, I want to do more self-tapes, or oh, yeah, I want to journal more, I want to meditate more, and then just not do it, right? Like that serves absolutely zero purpose then, right? So I'm really going to try my best, very much going to try my best to follow up with that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that might cover everything. I'm at the 1 hour mark. Crazy shit. Because I was saying earlier that, I'm not going to pressure myself to talk for a certain amount of time, but I feel like I didn't force myself, I didn't pressure myself to talk for any length of time today. I think that, obviously an hour is still good, and, it's nice to have those shorter episodes sometimes as well, especially last week. The episode was almost like 2 hours, I think. So now to have a little bit of a shorter one, it's also pretty nice. New upgrades coming next week. I'm considering moving to the couch. I don't know why I did that weird face. I'm thinking. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, very much I would appreciate if you would leave a comment, or if I know you in person, let me know what you would think if instead of me sitting at the desk here, I sat on the couch back there, right? Still using the camera, still using the same microphone, right? So the actual quality itself wouldn't, but I think it would just sort of accompany the sort of conversational aspect of things, right? So it's definitely something that I'm considering. I'm going to think a lot about it this next week. But of course, like I said, if you want to leave a comment or let me know in person if I know you in person, that would be amazing. If you could do that. With all that being said, that will end it for today. I hope you all have a fantastic new year. This is going to be an amazing year, not only for myself, but I feel like for anybody that feels that it's going to be a great year, it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Same as always, you can catch new episodes every single Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, on all major platforms, wherever you get your podcasts, okay? And follow the show on Instagram at Off the Record with Jordan Rance. And here on YouTube, of course, same handle at Off the Record with Jordan Rance. Also something I don't say often, but also something that I'm like trying to push for is to, if you're ever watching the episode on Spotify, I would very much appreciate if you gave the show a rating of 5 stars. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. That would be wonderful. And I will forever thank you for that. So, like I said, I hope you all have an amazing day, amazing year. I'm ready to kick some ass, to just have an amazing year. And, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye.